Boy, it feels good to ring that bell. Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York. It's a great day to be a Rotarian, where our motto is service above self, and we follow the four-way test. Now, follow along here, because this is the last time I'm going to read it to you, because starting next week, I'm going to ask you to read it with me. So this time, you're going to get a leg up. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So that being said, I am more passionate than I am humble. And that means I love Rotary and I'm not afraid to talk about it. And I am your president, Aaron Jacobs. You're supposed to clap at that point. There you go. Welcome to our club today. Make sure your device is on silence. You know that. Here comes the gang. We have our opening song, America the Beautiful, by past President Glenn Miller. Hang on, Glenn. I know you're anxious. Followed by Kelly Gibson and the invocation and visitor introductions by Diane Marino. Glenn, would you please lead us?
Thank you, Mr. President. Please join me. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please prepare yourself for prayer in the manner in which you are accustomed. Artists are a gift to us. Art is our connection to the sacred. It makes the unseen visible. When I say the word God, the image that is in your mind was created by an artist to make the unknowable knowable, to bring us closer to a higher power. Sacred images, symbols, dances, hymns, and chants. These artist-made tools are what connect us to our religion and spiritually to one another. The TED definition of art is a creative work that communicates meaning beyond language. Art is what allows us to see, feel, touch, and experience our world in shared communion. Today, let us give thanks for our guest speaker, Ophelia Chambliss, and the artists among us whose work connects our spirits, blesses our world, and builds bridges across insurmountable divides. Let us also thank the creative hands that made the meal we share today in fellowship. All this we pray. Amen.
Hi, everyone. I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Aaron has welcomed you. And my apologies if I butcher any of these names, which is very likely. So first, we have Melissa Spiel, who is a guest of past President John Kleindienst. Andrew Smith, guest of Ophelia Chambliss. Joanne Wilmore, guest of Ophelia Chambliss. Kim Brister, guest of Ophelia Chambliss. Grace Corte, guest of Ophelia Chambliss. Amy Brillinger, guest of President-elect nominee Wilda Ream Alessi. Oh, Betsy Meckley. Hi, Betsy. She's the guest of Jane Schuessler. Casey French. Hi, Casey. Guest of Jane Schuessler. Susan Crawford Charters, guest of Jane Schuessler. Justin Ruby, guest of past President Ann Druck. Kwame Jenkins, guest of past President Ann Druck. Hannah Beard, guest of Melissa Rosario. Zakia Bayard, guest of Melissa Rosario. Yvonne Morbin Mora, guest of Tom Calderon. And Richard Miller, guest of Joyce Santiago.
Richard, been a long time, man. So it's great meeting new people and making new friends, and just your being here automatically makes us think of you as our friend. This is an awesome club where the food is delicious. Am I right? Am I right? Heck yeah. Ophelia was going to be awesome as well. And these are some of the best Rotarians York County has to offer. But let me do the math for you real quick. Visit us once. Hey, glad you're here. Right? Visit us twice. Hey, thanks for coming back. Visit us a third time. Be a Rotarian. That's the math. Rotarians, help me welcome our guests. Thank you. Rotary announcements. So some of these may be coming out of sequence with the slide, but Lindsay and I are going to try to work our best to go through this. Tomorrow, Ashley Etzweiler, where are you? There she is. If you don't know it by now, we have a nice crab feast going on at her place. Is it too late to sign up? Is it written in stone? Is it pencils down? It's never too late to sign up. A gorging of crabs at Ashley Etzweiler's in their private bungalow along Lake Charles at the Susquehanna River. If you're still interested, apparently, you heard it from the source, there's still time. Talk to Ashley back there. In the spirit also of fellowship on Thursdays along the river, we have an excellent boat trip, hosted a boat trip. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rotary Club of York. A restored electrical boat trip, the Chief Uncas, thank you, Rob Bowen, built by Adolphus Bush, that is operated on the Susquehanna National Heritage Area. This is right down from Ashley's bungalow. Am I right? What a coincidence. And that's what it looks like. This event will be held on September 14th at 4 p.m. and it includes a 1-hour ride on the river, followed to the Zimmerman Center Museum, and it's only $20. So it's a bargain. Please RSVP to past President Rob Bowen before or by September 9th. Now, our last announcement here on the York Rotary Foundation and our Maui Fire Relief. We have the matching grant now, as Courtney mentioned last week, of up to $2,500 in donations for members of the Maui Fire Relief. Donations will go to the Hawaii Rotary District Fund established for this cause. Thank you for those who have responded so far. It's amazing. You can make your donation. It's real easy by credit card. Is the QR code on the table? I can't see it. No. Well, imagine if there was. But either way, you can also let Lynn know that you can send them a check. And we're going to try to wrap this collection up by September 15th. So let's get moving, Rotarians. Now, on to one of my favorite parts, the President's Challenge. Wherever Doug is. Doug is here. Come on up, Doug. And as Doug gets here, I want to remind you what this President's Challenge is about. It's our time for us to highlight a committee to our club addressing 4 critical points. I've repeated this already. It's to inform the club of what the committee does at large. It's to promote the committee, to create awareness for what the committee does or projects that it serves. It's to solicit to ask you to join that committee. So if you're not on it, think about coming and helping Doug out. And recruiting. So, man, everybody's eager to get on stage. I'm telling you. I'll grab your hand, Doug, I promise. So remember, this is why we're doing this. I'm challenging each of you to bring at least one new idea or member to a committee. I'm challenging you to create new projects or attract new members to this club and committee. I'm challenging our members to join new and additional committees, bring our ideas forth, and at least understand who it is, what we do, and what we're capable of doing. And that said, it is my extreme pleasure to welcome, I'll hold your hand if I have to, Doug Berman and the Finance Committee. Thank you, Doug.
Aaron requested visual aids, and that's as creative as I get. So that's all you're getting. So I just wanted dollar signs, but they said, no, we couldn't do that. So I'm here on behalf of the Finance Committee. If you're looking to join a committee whose purpose is to promote fun within our club, to create a happy atmosphere for our members and prospective members, one whose meetings are filled with jokes and laughter, much like President Aaron, In a world where money grows on trees and flows like a river, well, finance is not for you. The purpose of our finance committee is to provide financial advice, analysis, and oversight of the club's budget and budgeting process. We do this by working closely with the staff, as well as working closely with the club's board of directors, the various committee chairs, especially the investment committee led by Matt Falvey, and the board of directors of our related entity, the York Rotary Foundation. In addition to the budget process, we have the ongoing responsibilities of the monthly financial reports that are presented to the club's board of directors, as well as our annual compliance requirements, which include the tax return for the Rotary Club, and then the reviewed financial statement and tax return for the York Rotary Foundation. Just to talk a little bit about the budget process, and I'd like to give a ton of credit to Lynn for all of her efforts these past couple of years in terms of significantly improving our budgeting process. Some of the steps that she's implemented has been for the budget requests submitted by each of our committees to now be accompanied by a narrative describing how those requests will impact our club and the community, as well as the timing of some of those expenditures. She's also instituted a mid-year check-in, which again, we appreciate the cooperation from all of the committee chairs that have provided that valuable information, which not only helps us manage our financial position throughout the year, but it also leads to a better budgeting process for the upcoming year. In terms of timing, the Rotary Club is a June 30 fiscal year end. So the mid-year check-in I just mentioned occurs in January, with budget submissions from the committee chairs being due sometime usually in April, and then the finance committee does all of our work in May. The goal is to have a draft budget for approval at the June executive committee meeting. So the meeting of the finance committee is really our only standing meeting to work on the budget, and that usually occurs towards the end of May, with possible ad hoc meetings as necessary should situations arise. New this year, I am distributing quarterly financial information to the finance committee, just to keep them a little bit better apprised in terms of the financial position of the club and prepare them a little bit better for the year-end budgeting process. In terms of needs, my final, request, our current finance committee roster is very strong at this point. Our biggest need is to identify my successor. I'm now in my 4th year in the role and really have no desire to reach the duration of my predecessor, whose life sentence, I think, was about 10 years. So I did not sign up for that. So if anything I share today is of interest to you, if you'd like to hear more about the club's financial position or more about the finance committee, or perhaps being the next financial vice president of the club, please feel free to contact me. Again, my email information is on the board. Thank you, everyone.
What Doug did not say is that I wore him out, that he has to retire at the end of this year. Right, Doug? Right. So we think of service in a lot of different ways, but the finance committees and especially Doug provides a service to this club that if it were not provided, we would not be able to do the other services that we do. And we thank you for what you do. I hope you heard his call and you answer it. But another round of applause for the finance committee. Related to the President's Challenge, we started this a couple weeks ago, and it's already working. And I'm pleased to share that 2 committees have already responded to the challenge by identifying a service project that they can work on together, 2 committees together, creating a volunteer opportunity for our membership. And that's all I'm going to tell you right now. I'll tell you about it later. But my point is let's keep the conversations going. Let's keep the momentum going. Gang, you're doing great. And speaking of service, Andy is going to give us an update on Sendafa. Andy, would you come to the stage?
Good afternoon. Could I have everybody stand, please? And just like President Aaron received an applause earlier, if we could have a round of applause real quick. Okay. So you may be asking what that all is about. And that is really an applause or a standing ovation for each of you for going above and beyond. Quite honestly, we had a fundraising event to raise money to build bathrooms in Sendafa, Ethiopia. We have surpassed the goal. More than 3,000 people will benefit from having access to bathrooms in a village of 25,000 people where less than half of the people have access to a bathroom. Thank you. Huge. Can you sit down? I also want to give a shout out to Jane Conover. Jane is not here today, but she has been an awesome, oh, she is here. Wonderful. There you go. Jane, you've been awesome in leading our Global Grants Committee. And because of your dedication and the dedication of other individuals that are on that committee, we have submitted an application for the Global Grant, and we believe we're going to get that award, which will give us about $70,000 in total, quite honestly, to help us meet our goal. So thank you for that. In addition, special thanks to Living Word Community Church, Project Adopt a Village, and Tom McCracken. Each of them contributed generously to do matching funds. So therefore, as a group, collectively, we raised over $22,000 just within this chapter alone. So a huge applause to all of you for all that. So I had the privilege last month of actually going to Ethiopia, and what a incredible trip it was. So we spent 8 days on the ground there and actually had the chance to meet with the country chair of Rotary. Hannah is her name, and the past country chair of Rotary, Henoch. A beautiful time together. Henoch will be our go-to person helping us as a partner chapter in Rotary in Addis in Ethiopia to help us continue with the bathroom building project in Sandafa. So really neat to meet them and hear their stories. It's all about the relationships and how beautiful it is when we come together and serve together in terms of what we can accomplish as a group. I share this slide because this is normal living conditions in Sandafa. And if I can ask you to actually start a video as well. As I share information, we're going to share a video with you in terms of the trip and the experience that we had. So those living conditions, there's many individuals actually sleep on dirt floors. Again, most of the people don't have access to bathrooms. They are trying to live every day, getting food and other things for access. We take so much for granted. And for me personally, going on a trip like this, as you can see the pictures, people are full of life, they're full of spirit, and yet we so often take for granted the fact that we have clean water to drink from, we have access to bathrooms, safety is not a concern for us, just the ability to develop relationships and connections and gather together. We had the opportunity to provide medical care. We saw over 4,000 patients in the village of Sandafa. Some of these people have never seen healthcare before. Matter of fact, there was a 72-year-old lady who never saw a doctor before this trip. It's shocking when you think of that. And so we were able to go on site. The really cool thing with this is we partnered with over 50 different people from Ethiopia, medical providers who also donated their time. And so we have a sustainable approach to ongoing care and delivery of healthcare. So every July, we're going back. And so our next trip is scheduled for July 12th through the 22nd. My challenge for you is if you ever want an incredible experience like that, talk to me. I'll be going back in July and would welcome you joining me in this trip. Not only did we provide medical care, we provided education within an elementary or a middle school for 6th to 8th graders. And again, you can just see the joy and the excitement. And it was amazing, not only in the medical camp, but also in the school and in the village where we made about 50 different visits to homes. Just the welcoming approach and how grateful they were for us to come in, hear their story, support them in every way possible. Just going back to that photo of the typical home that people live in, we literally put vinyl on the floor because many people are living on dirt floors. They're sleeping on dirt floors. And so just simple acts of kindness. Each and every one of us every day have an opportunity to lean into somebody and provide hope and support. Again, this is just an amazing way. And one small thing that we could do to help bring hope and light to people in Sindapa. So again, thanks to all of you for your support, your encouragement, and if there's anything else that we can do in terms of providing opportunity, we welcome that. Thank you.
Service above self, service above self, service above self. That's every slide and every motion picture I see up there. That's what Rotary is all about. And I couldn't see it manifest any more than what Andy has brought to us. And for those of you who don't know, Andy was the catalyst, am I right, for this project happening for our club. And he deserves an extra round of applause for that. Thank you, Andy. Upper Community is just weeks away. And at this point in time, I'd like to invite my second favorite Aaron of this club, Aaron Rank. Aaron.
Thank you very much, President Aaron. I'm here today to encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to register. September 11th is right around the corner, believe it or not. And I wanted to just run through a couple slides here today to give you a little bit of a preview on some of the silent auction and live auction items that we're going to have available. This is a beautiful painting by Fran Polk of the Yellow Breeches. Relatedly, Dan May has also offered a day of fly fishing for two. I believe he's offered this in the past. It's on 5 miles of private stream in southern York. You don't need waders, boots, rods, or reels. Dan will be your outfitter and instructor for the day. He sent me this photo, but I actually found one of him myself. Yeah. President Glenn has again generously offered up his beautiful home in North Cape May, or as he describes it, it's 5 minutes to Delaware Bay sunsets, 12 minutes to downtown Cape May, and 3 hours from President Aaron's meetings. I'm just the messenger. Oops. If Florida is more your style, you can also bid on this week-long stay in Marco Island. It's a 2-bedroom condo with beautiful views of the ocean, thanks to the generosity of Karen McCormack. And I'm giving a lighthearted presentation here today, but of course we are all thinking about our friends and family in Florida as Idalia makes landfall today. We will also have beautiful piece. This is a beautifully textured gold vermeil earring and necklace ensemble, compliments of Feuder Brothers. We have a number of gift baskets available. This is a gift basket of beauty products from Maggie King, owner of Blend Beauty and Spa. Another gift basket is 8 bottles of bourbon. That's right, count them up. 8 bottles of bourbon. This should be enough to get you through at least a month of Rotary meetings. A combo pack I highly recommend. Buy the bourbon, and then this offer from President Aaron for a day of help in your garden. You can sit back, sip your bourbon, and watch him work.
It's exhausting.
And in a shameless plug, I'm offering up a cheese and wine tasting for 4 to 8 people in my home. We'll sample award-winning cheeses from right here in Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, Vermont, Wisconsin, beyond. You can expect a lively discussion and to leave with a new appreciation of why you like some cheeses more than others. And then I would be remiss not to note that the benefits of this project, of course, go to the York Rotary Foundation and our project for this year of beautification in downtown York. And there will be a number of other items that I didn't have slides for here today, such as golf and lunch for 4 right here at the Country Club of York, a night out at the Appel Center and a stay at the Yorktown Hotel. These are just a few. Dinner at the Handsome Cab, date night in Baltimore, a creative date night thanks to York Pottery, a private tour and a sneak peek of the York History Center, and 4 tickets to Video Games Live at the Strand. This is, you may be wondering about this. I had to look this one up myself. They take common themes from video games. If you're not a gamer yourself, maybe you know someone who is. Songs from Halo, World of Warcraft, all these types of different games. They put them live to music, and it's an immersive experience. So thank you all very much. We look forward to seeing you. Please do register if you haven't already. We have lots of different games. September 11th is coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm not going to lie. One of those slides was so handsome that I thought I might bid on itself. I mean, Fran, that picture was amazing. Yeah, that joke didn't land, did it? Speaking of jokes, one of your favorite past presidents, Jody Keller, will come to the podium to announce our speaker, Ophelia. Jody.
It's so exciting to have a comedian at the podium for the whole year, and I'm feeling inspired. First of all, a little known fact that you used to talk about little known facts. Well, a little known fact is Diane Marino has 47,700 new mails in her mailbox. Okay. Does anyone have more than that? Okay. Do you think there's something wrong with her? Have she not got back? Have you emailed her and she never responded? Okay. Okay. And just a quick joke. Yeah. Okay. Why should you avoid artists? They tend to be sketchy. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker and fellow Rotarian, Ophelia Fifi Chambliss, who will share her experience in establishing a nonprofit business, Ophelia's Making Agency, that focuses on the industry of art as a viable, sustainable endeavor. In short, the goal is on bringing the necessary tools in business planning to the creative community. I think I have that right. Did I get it? Okay. Ophelia is an arts professional and educator, has an extensive background in the arts and marketing. She holds a BA and MA in communication from Penn State and an honorary doctorate in fine arts from the Pennsylvania College of Arts and Design. And I'm sure many of you know her as an accomplished and successful artist and have the pleasure of perhaps having a piece of her art in your home or business. On the personal side, Ophelia, also known as Fifi to many, is originally from Chicago, where she lived with her 3 siblings, and later she moved to York in 2000. As I have mentioned, sharing little known facts about many of you, Fifi has had some very interesting experiences. She's ambidextrous, but was primarily left-handed until she had surgery due to nerve damage in the left hand, and now she's had to use her right hand. Who knew that? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. She holds a blue belt in Taekwondo, and my favorite little known fact is she danced on Soul Train. I loved Soul Train. Okay. She's a mom of a 42-year-old son and a 35-year-old daughter, which I can't believe. She loves to play golf, and her new favorite pastime is skydiving. Please welcome our fellow Rotarian, Ophelia Chambliss.
Thank you, Jody. I was worried about her a little bit there. There's videos of the Soul Train thing out there somewhere in Facebook land. You can find them. So thank you. I'm really happy to be here to really talk to you about Ophelia's Making Agency, which I, kind of capture on the idea of meet me at the corner of career and creativity. And this isn't just for artists. There are a lot of individuals who are creative in what they do. Their side hustle, the thing that they do, they're the entrepreneur in them. And what we're designed to do is to help them do that. So we're designed to assist them, small businesses, under-resourced businesses, to really develop sustainable practices. I almost forgot the clicker here. Here we go. So meet me at the corner of career and creativity is supposed to help them take that thing that they do, structure their business practices so they can do it well and they can do it sustainably. We have a board now. We're in the process of getting our official nonprofit status, which takes forever. Thank you, IRS, and the amount of paperwork that it does. But we don't just work with artists. I come from an arts background, and I tell you, and Jody introduced and told some of the things about what I do, but I'm a working artist. But I have a background in the corporate graphic world. I have a background in working with entrepreneurs, getting them started. One of the things that brought me here to York was kind of as a change agent. I take a look at corporations that have creative components and let them look at the product that they're doing and how they can reposition that to get a greater market share, to get more stability. So as a working artist with an academic background, which is extensively in rhetoric, visual communication, and how do we position ourselves, how do we see things in semiotics, I wanted to apply that to other businesses to help them as well. Some of the early questions I had, I had to ask myself, how might I assist these creatives and entrepreneurs in their mindset to lean into the thing that they do in a sustainable way? How might I position this offering so that it filled a niche need? And after asking a few questions and finding that I was really doing this all the time, answering questions from folks about, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? So it's really formalize that and identify those people and identify them in such a way that it met the little gaps that existed in other organizations. How might I put this experience into practice? Build a board that would help supplement, the different areas. Oh, we need an accountant on our board. If anybody is available. And how might we reach those under-resourced people? Many who looked like me, to develop those competencies for success. And we've had absolutely no problem reaching those folks. And how might we enhance that as an economic driver for our communities? My business is in the Waco district, which is really an up-and-coming district. We want more people to take a really good look at what we're doing down there. But meeting those growth needs and creating creativeness as an industry is extremely important. So what we do is we provide self-guided services that combines creativity, culture, and career development into a viable business for professionals. It is designed for the individual to grow their career in a way that meets their needs. A lot of this is self-guided. So the idea of the name is about agency. So agency represents the capacity to act independently, to take responsibility for your own life as an individual, determine and make meaning from your environment through purposeful, consciousness, reflective, and creative action. And that's what we want a lot of these businesses to do. We want them to think about having agency will allow them to be creative and realize the possibilities from this side hustle, many of them that develop these hustles through the pandemic as a means of survival. But what we want to do is get them out of survival mode and into thrive mode. Doing two things at once here. So we provide one-on-one support in a business-to-business environment. So very often people want to come by and visit the studio, and that's great. But when it's business days, so the clients that we're meeting with, it's back of the house. So it's all confidential. So that we're not meeting in a restaurant where they're talking about, their finances and how they're doing and how they might be taken from Peter to pay Paul. We're trying to structure it in such a way that they're going to be more confident and they can do so in an extremely comfortable environment. Because very often what happens with these small businesses, they're not sure how to process these things. They don't realize that I should not be buying retail, products to make my goods, but I should be buying wholesale. So getting over that competence, that confidence, and learning the right way to do things is what's going to make them sustainable. So that's a very confidential list and is often a very confidential conversation. It's self-guided, and it's a co-developed action plan with them to figure out where they want to be to that next level. We provide navigation and support to other services. So if they need legal services, if they need accounting services, we're trying to partner with other agencies to help provide them with that. So it's not all in-house, but it's all in support of their business. There are tiered offerings. so they can each meet their individual goals. And we have some very practical assessments that really look at their internal practices as well as their external practices. Very seldom are we concerned with, what paints are you buying or what, tools are you using? That's not our concern. We expect you to manage your business or this thing that you do, but what we're going to do is help you do it well so that you can replicate this, so that you can be sustainable at this. Right now, we have kind of 4 categories that we work with, and they can enter in at any point. They could plan on starting their business where they really just want to set it up. They want to get a business format together, register their fictitious name, make sure they get that published, open up a bank account, understand the tax implications in terms of what format they want to be in, whether they want to be a B Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, sole proprietor. So we talk about all of those things, connect them with someone who would better be able to explain those things to them so they're making an informed choice. They can be looking to improve their business, improve their professional practices, developing a pricing formula. That's one of the biggest challenges a lot of small businesses have, especially creatives. Identifying new client markets and industries. Maybe they're finding that, well, gee, I used to sell these things to my family and friends, but now they all have one. What do I do next? Developing good file management, operating on best practices and scheduling, estimating projects, being able to project out to the next month, the next, quarter, the next year, so that they can be sustainable and replicate and continue this, thereby getting out of survival mode into thriving mode. And then having a really big plan about, this is great, I'm working off my kitchen table today, but in 6 months, I'd like to have a small storefront. In a year, I would like to bring on employees and partners so we can put that in writing and develop a plan. So one of the first things that they have to do is an assessment form. And I always tell them that you're not going to be able to answer everything on this form, but we're going to put it all on there anyway, because at least you will go back to this form, and it's a living form. We're constantly updating it. They have access to it. I have access to it. But they'll be able to say, well, when I first started this, I did not know what that meant, but now I do. But I want them to be able to look out for things. Very often when people are trying to figure out what it is they want, usually they know what they don't want. But I want them to get in the habit of knowing what they want, so when the opportunity presents itself, they're able to identify it. So the assessment form really gets them thinking about, what is it that you do? Gets them to look at taking a personal inventory of what they already have done. What is their network? Who are their allies? Who are their active allies? What are their support systems? Creating a clear definition of their business. And maybe that clear definition then becomes a platform that you build your business on. Really taking a hard look at their strengths and their weaknesses, their opportunities, their threats, and even more importantly, their aspirations. Where do you want to go? And I'm at a point now where I give a lot of tough love. So, they might come and say, I've got this business and I'm making these painted rocks and it's going to be, no, baby, that's not a business. That's a nice little hobby. No. So I don't mind saying no. I don't mind redirecting them, but I might say, but let's try this. That could be the best painted rock hobby in the world. And let's see where we can put those rocks. Maybe those rocks become messages. We will figure something out, but I don't have a problem telling them, no, that is not a viable business. We look at community connections. York has some amazing resources, some amazing support systems. But if you're not out there, if you're not connected that way, if you don't have those networks, you don't know that. So really being able to connect them to those things. A definition of their potential market. The families and friends already have the rocks. Let's find people who are also interested in rocks. And then what are their best practices? The finances, the operations, staffing needs. Have they thought about those things, or are they just really trying to keep up? So it's been almost a year now, not quite a year, since I've actually opened the doors to my studio and really launched this thing. As I said, I've been doing this for as long as I've been here in York, helping people with these systems and talking about these conversations. But we're ending our pilot stage, which originally I said, I'm going to do this. We're going to start working with 5 clients. build the assessment form, put these systems in place. But currently we're working with 23 clients. And the demographic is 14 African-American female, 2 Hispanic female, 1 Hispanic male, and I guess I should show you that. 3 white female, 2 white male, and 1 Asian female. So it's across the board as far as demographics are concerned. But note too that they're not all artists. So they're different industries. So I'm working with a mechanic, a few different hairstylists, some contractors and house painters, copywriters, proofreaders, catering, restaurant folks, technology people, motivational coaches, artists, marketing specialists, and caterers. So these are all businesses who are looking to structure themselves and lean into entrepreneurism, lean into professionalism. And very often it's because this is something they've always wanted to do, but did not know how to get there. And if you don't know, it makes you nervous to go to someone that you're not familiar with to ask them those questions. So, and if they feel comfortable being able to come to me to ask those questions to get them to that next level, then I'm there for that. So their needs range from business development to best practices within their industry. So I'm not into holding their hands and taking them there. You know, we've heard the teach them to fish or, give them fish, but to find good resource curated information on their industry so that they can also work to develop themselves. The number of artists that don't realize that this is a business. This isn't just I paint pretty pictures and I hang them on the wall. I work at this. I have a process. I have a business. I have a network. There are industry resources out there to go to find other places that I can sell and market and create my work. So being able to direct them in that and find those resources for them and working with them the whole time that we're doing it. Structures and legal filings and accounting, because at the end of the day, we all have to answer to the IRS. It's a very scary thing when you're an independent. It's a very scary thing when you're just trying to survive. You're worrying about, well, how much is this going to cost me in taxes because I can't do that. And very often you'll see a lot of these small businesses are afraid of making money because of what it might cost them in taxes. And that'll hold you back. So to take the fear out of that is extremely important. Business coaching, strategic planning, direction, organization, better practices, pricing, invoicing. Some of the smallest things that you would never imagine are critical to some of these small businesses and their sustainability. And industry knowledge, especially for artists, knowing that there are different resources there. In this past week, these are in scheduled and unscheduled meetings because very often I'll get a phone call because they're in the process of bidding on the job. The client asked for XYZ. They're not sure how much to charge them for that. They're not sure if they can manage that in their schedule. So I've gotten calls and had to sit down with people to talk about pricing and writing proposal to license product to a gift shop. I've sat down with a client talking about reviewing the pros and cons of online paying methods for their catering business because they had one of the payment processes lock them out because they didn't understand why they were getting all these small payments coming in. Now they don't have access to their funds. So now we need to set up a bank account and a pass-through so that they don't have that happen again. I've met with somebody about calculating the square footage for a mural in order to give a formula and a rate so that they can know what to charge the client, but they can also use that again in the future. So now they have a formula. So every time that they know they're going to do a large project, they just apply the math to it. And then reevaluating their objectives to better fit the means and their capabilities. So now they know that, their kid went back to college and they had additional assistance from them for doing some of their business practices. They had to scale it back and then maybe find an intern, maybe make some connections to getting some assistance without their kid support, and then growing somebody to help them fill that need. We've been working with partner organizations. So again, we're focused on filling a niche need, not recreating something that's already out there, but working with organizations like Brick by Brick, the Cultural Alliance of York County, Bloom, Royal Square, CGA Law, and with some support from Powder Mill Foundation and the Gladfelter Group, and working with Downtown Inc., because where we are in WECO as an up-and-coming community is very important. I think there's some excellent opportunities to really help build York, to build that west end of York, if more and more businesses are able to then grow on that end and bring more to what we offer. So the studio, which is separate from the making agency, is located at 251-253 West Market Street. So the front side of that is a meeting space, a community space. A couple of weeks ago, we played Pictionary there. We'll be doing it again in September. A huge hit. A lot of people think that when artists play Pictionary, that it's an unfair advantage. You have no idea. Artists can't draw fast. You know, they're shading, you know, the buzzer's going off. So it's not a disadvantage. So don't be afraid to play Pictionary with artists. And there are a lot of artists who really can't draw. You know, they can paint. It's a different story. So it's fair. So it's a community meeting space. There's spaces where people can hold meetings at the table. People can come and sit, read books. I put out coloring pages and I put on music that matches the coloring pages. People can come and sit and color. So it's an open door. It's street level, street front there in the WECO district. And it's a place for artists and creatives to come in and say, I want something like this. So, and I think it's the semiotics of that is for them to be able to see, you know, something working, and this is what they want to do as well. And it positions us for potential growth. I would love to see this neighborhood grow into lots of other small businesses. Soup and sandwiches place. You know, they have just, you get a cup of soup and a half a sandwich, grab some lunch, keep moving. A bike shop, another coffee shop where people can kind of meet. And I think it has that potential, especially because where artists come into communities, communities grow. Because we're constantly looking for creative solutions for things. And it doesn't have to always be pretty. You know, we're willing to be down and dirty to start with, but we're willing to grow and we think things differently. One of the other things and the beauty of this building is looking to develop working spaces below market rate for other artists, because it's important for them to have a space that they can afford to build a continuity to their work in order for them to grow. And to be able to have these spaces for them is the next step of this process. And I've been working with, and I think it's another creative approach, is working with private building owners. Brandon Hershey, who owns the building that we're in now, very generously, you know, offers up this space. And I pay rent for my space, but to be able to do this growth, you know, and make it possible. So we're going to have to pivot a little bit because it's going to take a little bit longer to grow these spaces out. And the opportunity is now, and I'm a big fan of seizing the opportunity. So Brandon owns the 3 buildings connected here in WECO, and we're looking to maybe expand 2 doors over, which will give us street access, storefront gallery for a lot of these up and coming artists, perhaps a little shop where they can sell some of the work that they produce. It's another opportunity for a First Friday walk-in and visit, for more people to come and visit the spaces rather than go up to our second floor. And the second floor then could become a maker space, a pottery studio, someone who does welding and making jewelry. So it has a lot of great deal of potential. We are also a trail-friendly business because we're right there on the trail. We're going to have a bike rack outside. We're going to have a water cooler. As trail visits come through, we're also going to have creative days where people riding or walking the trail can pull over, have a drink of water, maybe hear something about an art exhibit, an art installation, and, you know, doing some curating, giving different artists an opportunity to curate their work, to talk about their work. Articulating your work is extremely important. Very often when an artist wants me to take a look at their work, take a look at their business, I said, I don't want to look at your images. I want to hear it. You know, talk to me. Tell me what I cannot see. You know, tell me what it is you planned on doing, and then I'll look at it to see if you've met that need. So there's a lot of tough love that happens there at the Making Agency. I have an amazing board. Some of them are here. Andy Smith from Hanover, Elaine Bono's here. I don't know if any of the board members are here, but again, we need an accountant on our board. And it's been an amazing journey. Like I said, it's been something that I've been doing for years anyway. And this opportunity to formalize this has been huge. And I mentioned that, we started off, it was only going to be 5 clients. We're going to develop our assessment form. We're going to see where this is going. And now we're at 23. And we have all of these varying industries, and new people walk in every day asking for advice. It usually happens that first someone calls up and just asks a few questions, but they're not ready to do the assessment form yet. And it's kind of like Aaron said, the first time you come for a visit, the next time you come back, then you join. They'll call up again and they'll ask another question. And then I'm like, oh, you sure you don't want to fill the assessment form? No, I just wanted to know, how do I do this? By the third time, they're like, okay, where's the form? I'm going to fill it out. Let's do this for real. And because they see the need, and they found the responses to their first question useful, and they see the potential. And I think the more and more that we see, or these small businesses see the potential, the more and more they will grow. So the building that we're looking at pivoting to, again, is 2 doors down. There's a huge wall on the side of it that will probably be a mural. We're working with the Cultural Alliance and Francis Wolf to kind of put something on that wall. So I see more, and I'm loving just this past week with Arts Fest and the Royal Square mural walk. York is going to be covered with art. One of the first things, when I first moved here, somebody said that, we want this to be an arts destination. I took that seriously and went about trying to make that happen. I took that seriously in terms of, I can make a living as an artist here. And having that professional background, I thought I can make that happen and share that with others. And I think that fits kind of with the Rotary sense of service above self. I want to serve this community. I want to serve the creatives in this community, because it's not just artists. It's small businesses. It's people who don't have the resources or who do not have the access to be able to connect them into those networks that will help them grow. I'm sure you guys have all heard that phrase, a rising tide raises all ships, and that will be good for all of us and all of York County. Thank you. There's a microphone and questions. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear? Oh,
I can hear you. Go.
I'll keep talking. I kind of like that.
Thank you for the presentation. Do you collaborate or partner with the organization called SCORE?
I am starting to collaborate with them. Sometimes some of the things that SCORE does is very traditional. So it doesn't always meet the needs of creative folks who think differently. They're not going to be as organized in their processes. And it doesn't work as well for artists. Even the whole RFP process and RFQ process, some of those things even have to be rewritten to meet the needs of artists. But I would love to work more with them, because I also want artists to kind of shift how they think to work in those traditional models. Thank you.
Thank you, Ophelia. That was interesting. I never knew you were doing any of this. Are you spending more of your time as an artist or as, shall I say, advisor?
Right now, it's probably about 50-50. So I was also an adjunct professor at Penn State York. I teach interpersonal communication and communication theory. So I've stopped teaching so that I can have more time for the advising and consulting, and then the other part of the time for the fine art. I don't think I could just simply do fine art by itself and not do the other. But yeah, it's about 50-50 now.
Ophelia, thank you. How does someone sign up? What's your fiscal structure?
So right now, for this pilot stage, everyone's coming in as free of charge. We first send you the assessment form, start filling out the form, then we schedule some one-on-one meetings. Starting the first of the year, we will start charging, and it's going to be a membership because we want them to keep coming back. We want them to have some commitment to this as well. And initially, because we know that they're going to have some out-of-pocket expenses with registering their business, if they wanted to set up a particular structure, there were fees, legal fees, some accountant fees. So we're trying to not let that be a hindrance to them starting. So a lot of these individuals in this pilot stage have been going through free of charge, but that's about to change.
Thank you so much, Ophelia. What a wonderful thing you're doing. This is a question sort of related to the SCORE question. Are you currently the one who's doing all of the advising to these folks? Are you envisioning, or do you already have sort of a cadre of other professional advisors that you can match up with clients? Is that what your board is doing to a degree? I'm curious about the present and the vision for the future. And I think again about that SCORE model of linking small businesses to business leaders.
Right. Currently, I am doing all of the advising. I am working on developing another individual to be able to go through and do the assessment forms like I am doing. But I've also been working with identifying the next step for a lot of the folks, like if they need accountant help, working with the folks from Brick by Brick, if they need legal help, working with CGA. And again, with Brick by Brick, they have some pro bono legal services. But yeah, so we're working on, so now that we've done the full assessment through the pilot, figured out what we need, where our strengths are, developing those creative services. So if any of you out there would like to join us, you're welcome to do so. But yes, we want to build the capacity and not do what we're trying to keep them from doing, but to make sure that we are beyond surviving and thriving and helping all of these individuals.
I'm your last question.
Okay.
Ophelia, because you know I love you. Thank you for everything that you're doing. It's a dream, not deferred. Is there a possibility of working with PCAD in the future? I know you just received an honorary doctorate from them. Is there the possibility of creating a relationship with them in the WECO area and also in York, Pennsylvania?
Absolutely. I'm actually working on a thing right now to where we're going to hire 2 junior artists or people who are interested in even art curating to walk them through. They're going to curate an exhibit along with me that will be in Lancaster and then here in York, and they will get the full experience. So they'll be developed as artists in their industry. So yes, I'm partnering with them right now. Thank you.
Well, I got to say, as an active mentor with Susquehanna SCORE myself, I can't wait to go back and report all the free press we've gotten today. I had the privilege of hearing Ophelia's vision and story a few weeks ago on the golf course, and I had the same reflection now that I had then, and I would share them with you. And that is, where do you draw the line between business and service above self? And somehow, it seems to me, Ophelia, you found the way to make your business service above self. And I thank you very much for that, because this is a very community and culturally focused business endeavor, whatever you want to call it. But the point is, it's happening right here in New York City. Ophelia, I think it's amazing. And thank you for what you do. Rotarians, another round of applause. In honor of Ophelia's presentation today, she has signed the book plate, The Bad Seed by Jory John, and will be donated to the Ferguson Elementary School along with a bookmark provided by students from Creative York. And if you thought that program was great, wait till we hear we have for next week. It's a humdinger. We have Congressman Lloyd Smucker. As a member of the Ways and Means Committee and a senior member of the Budget Committee, Congressman Smucker champions policies that make it possible for every person to pursue their American dream, including increased economic opportunities for everyone. Prior to being elected to Congress, Representative Smucker served 2 terms in the Pennsylvania State Senate and owned and operated the Smucker Company for 25 years until 2008. Representative Smucker looks forward to addressing the members of the York Rotary Club to provide a legislative update from Washington, D.C. Have an amazing Rotarian week. This meeting is adjourned.